All right. We live. Showtime, fellas. I just want to take a second and thank both you gentlemen for making the time to get on here tonight and
Of course, brother.
try to help out as many of these young men that we can with their problems they're having dating. And, you know, that's why we're here for. The three of us have so much success and experience when it comes to dating that we feel like
failures.
We build on those failures to get the success, but we have so much knowledge between the three of us that we want to give back to some of you young men. We want you guys to do better. Some of the stuff we see online is absolutely horrifying. So if any of you guys are having these problems, please reach out to us. Ask questions in the chat. Get involved in the show. So tonight, we're going to go over 5 embarrassing ways that men simp. Now, gentlemen, I got something for you before we start. Now, you got to understand, I talk to a lot of women, and sometimes it's research, sometimes it's for pleasure, sometimes it's, hey, I just like talking to women. But I had a woman reach out to me today with a question, and since our show tonight is about simping and the ways men simp, I thought this question that she had to ask me pertains to the show. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. She wants to be anonymous, and I'm fine with that. But I get a message, and you know, dog, I get a lot of message from women. So text message pops up on my phone. It says, "Hey, question for you. If some woman you weren't attracted to said she only wanted to come over and give you a BJ, would you do it?"
Bless that bitch.
TK, some woman you're not attracted to.
We're starting this off with a bang. I like that.
I mean, it would have to depend on, you know, it'd have to probably be a pretty serious dry spell. You know what I mean? I don't really think I've ever been in that situation before, to be honest with you. But
TK, what's a dry spell?
It depends on the circumstances. You know what I mean? I can't say I would, can't say I wouldn't.
Okay. I'm glad you said that. Johnny, what do you think?
I mean, like, all right, if you're not in a committed, relationship with this person, you're not in a committed relationship with anybody for that matter. If you got somebody, and I'm not even talking necessarily about anything sexual. It could be any kind of favor. Somebody wants to come over and buy you dinner. Somebody wants to come over and wash your car. Somebody wants to come over and program your Fire Stick so you can watch hockey games for free. Anyway, the point is, somebody comes over and they're going to do favors for you that they don't expect to be reciprocated. One of two things is at play here. You've either got a person who has a real giving fetish, or you've got somebody who's going to be expecting something back later, or at the very, very least, give themselves the right to complain when things don't go quite the way they thought they would. Now, again, I really can't begin to know this person or what their perspective is or what their history is or anything like that. But for me, my thing is that if you're going to go ahead and do that sort of thing and have it be that one-way situation, I think as long as you've set some boundaries, this person understands where they're not going to get and where they are going to get, and what's going to be the result most likely. This is not a here's the odds, try to beat them kind of thing. No, we set this is the way it is, and you're cool with it. Whatever.
All right. So now there's a second part to this, gentlemen, because
always.
Hey, and I can't even cap. I thought I was about to get a message saying, "Why don't you come over here?" And all right, but that's not what happened. I got another message though. It said,
"Let me blow you, huh?" That's what you thought was coming, didn't you?
I thought that was the second message, dog. At any rate, the The second message came across and it says, I have a man that I'm not attracted to that just wants to come over and go down on me. He said, I don't have to return the favor ever. I gotta say, gentlemen, we're talking about 5 embarrassing ways men simp tonight. And I gotta say, that is some simp ass shit to me.
Yeah, man, that's
Go over and go down on a woman and expect nothing in return tells me you don't have any respect for yourself and you're simping. Because let me tell you guys something. If you really knew what you were doing with that woman, you would be going down on her and more if that's what you wanted to do. I'm saying when you try to bargain for vagina, when you try to bargain for access to sex, that's simping to me. That is high. That's you. What? Tell me what you guys think of that.
I mean, unless he like I said before, unless it's like a fetish of his, or something that somehow he gets off on himself. There's definitely something behind what he wants. There, and maybe. But I mean, if he never, but hey, he may never push for it, and if he doesn't, he doesn't. But yeah, I really couldn't beyond him trying to progress further, and trying to get her to that point where she might find that thought irresistible. And again, whether that's possible in her mind or not is not the issue. It's what he may be trying to figure out. But outside of that, no, I don't understand the thing. No.
Because what I think the move here is to get her in a position where she's slightly aroused, and then since he begged his way into giving her some head, next move is going to try to be to beg his way into getting some sex because hey, it worked with the head.
Well, it sounds to me like he's already done this a few times. Or am I understanding that correct? Or is it still in the stage where he's asking to and she hasn't said yes to that?
Yeah, I don't think she's completely had her mind made up, and that's why she reached out to see what I thought. And hey, y'all know what I think. Let's present it to the men on the panel so we can get some answers from some men. So I would say if she's not attracted to him enough to let him smash, then she shouldn't waste her time with him at all.
Yeah, that's probably where I'd go with it, man. I mean, you got to think too, man. Guys don't really have as much of a problem slumming as women do. You know what I mean? Sometimes, man, guys, hey, you can look at me however the fuck you want to, bro, but you can't sit here and be honest with me and tell me that you ain't went out and got fucked up, you know what I mean, and went slumming one night, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be, and then woke up next morning regret it, whatever. Women have a way harder time dealing with that kind of a mistake or whatever the case may be than guys do. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the way I see it anyways, Now,
TK, I got to give you a point there because women don't want to waste a body on some loser who can't handle them to begin with. So,
right.
I mean, you are right about that.
Guys don't quite see it the way women do.
The whole question is that's some simp behavior. So,
yeah,
without further ado, let's get into tonight's review. And this is something Johnny Dumbbell found for us. This is something from a YouTube channel called Your Wingman. All right, so we're gonna review this 5 embarrassing ways men simp and how to easily stop simping.
And normally, gentlemen, I don't take dating advice. I don't normally take dating advice from women. Not that they're the enemy, but let's face it, the women that give dating advice to men who date women usually have not dated women themselves. But when they give you insight, they are still telling on themselves whether they're giving you useful advice or not. So pay close attention to what this lady says and how she says it. She does give you a couple of cheat codes.
All right, now I haven't watched this clip, Johnny. I'm gonna You know, I'm watching it for the first time here, so
cringy and really embarrassing ways some men simp on social media and in real life and don't even realize
before
it.
we watch this, I just gotta say this, and you know what? Hold on, I'm taking the screen here for a second. I want you guys to know that I am personally embarrassed on behalf of my gender that we have to talk about simping to get you guys to understand that you need to have standards for your life and how you live your life. We shouldn't have to talk about how horrible your standards are as applied to your dating life to get you guys to realize that you need to have standards for your life. I just got to say that, man. I can't believe that we have to talk about women to get you guys to understand the importance of standards. So back to the show here.
Such a major turn off to women that if you do simp, then you're not even going to get past, never mind into a relationship, never mind even into a one-night relationship. It's impossible for her to change her mind about you. And when that happens, you might as well give up and start all over with someone new who doesn't even know you. But then you'll simp again with the next girl, and pretty way men simp on social media and in real life. Why it's such an instant turnoff to women and a gentleman, you might be surprised. And the counterintuitive way to know if you are simping or if you are being a gentleman, so you're getting rejected and start spending quality time with the kind of women you want to be with. Welcome to Just the Tip. So some of you might be wondering, what is simping and on a pedestal and treating her like a celebrity by either giving her swaths of attention or spending money on her and just hoping to win some little crumb of attention or affection from her. It's the new term.
Okay. Now, I got to tell you, Johnny, I don't accept crumbs from women.
Well,
When
remember
it comes
though,
to their attention.
remember though that that we know that you don't. We know that you don't. But the thing of it is, this is talking to those younger guys who went through a lot of the stuff that we went through in our 20s. Went through a lot of stuff. They're going through that now. So yeah, I mean, you and
It's
I
your
both
turn
know. Look,
to shine on the beam.
yeah, we don't.
5. Launching your TV ad campaign.
Yeah, I mean, and for us, I mean, my big thing is we've gone through that. We've been in that position, and we remember what we were thinking and feeling while we went through it. So yeah, she's talking to those guys, Billy. She ain't talking to us, man. DK, what do you think, brother?
All right, hold on one second.
Yeah, I mean, I think the rules definitely apply to other guys. I mean, all three of us have pretty much got our gear in order when it comes to the dating scene. You know what I mean? We've been there and done that. But yeah, I agree with John. What's that?
Well, and that's why we're
Only
and
took
that's
us
why we're
25
doing
years. Yeah,
Right. I mean,
because all of us, we are apex predators. You can
easy.
put us anywhere in any city, in any town in the country, and we're gonna hunt. We're gonna be just fine. We could, and that's why we've decided to get together and do this, because we want all you guys to have the success and skill when it comes to winning with women that we've had. And you know, I have a lot of respect for the men on this panel, especially Johnny Dumbbell. Johnny Dumbbell is the only person I hear on YouTube talking about how he's a reformed simp, how he's a simp in recovery. And what he is doing is he is giving hope to all you young men that are simps who have been simps your whole life, because you could look at Johnny Dumbbell and say, if this guy can do it, I can do it too. I can turn my life around. I can be a real man. I can win with women. And each and every one of you should go to Johnny Dumbbell's YouTube channel and subscribe to it. I'm telling you, my man is the only one on YouTube talking about how he's a recovering simp, and each and every one of you could learn from him. All right, let's get back to our clip, gentlemen.
Thanks, brother.
It's the new term for thirsty, nice guys. Let's look at some social media examples of what simping is, and then we'll look at some real life examples. So here are some embarrassing ways that men simp on social media, and it's way too out of hand, that she puts up on Instagram or TikTok, and using lots of emojis like hot, drooling, love.
Gentlemen, do either of you use emojis? I gotta say, I don't, especially because I talk to a lot of women and I'm not trying to communicate with them in a very feminine fashion. Now, I know some guys think that emojis are modern day hieroglyphics, but I'm just wondering what you guys think. You guys use emojis?
I send gifts to my mom.
Man. Yeah. It probably depends on the situation.
My mom loves gifts. I send those to her. That's about it.
Yeah.
I'm not using emojis, dog. And I'm not liking women's pictures.
Now, when I do
that.
use emojis, though, I'm creative about it. Though I actually make dad jokes with it. Great.
And I know we talk about standards constantly. And gentlemen, one of the standards that you should have for yourself, for having a little bit of self-respect, is not liking women's pictures on social media, especially if they're dressed up real nice, or if they got a lot of makeup on, or it's some kind of thirst trap picture. You guys should not be clicking like on that. The only kind of pictures I'm clicking like on are like the family style pictures, you know, like the families together, or if they're like showing off one of their kids or something they cook. That's something I really like, is when women post the stuff they cook. Shout out to all the women that own an apron.
Bless that bitch.
Well, it's like I said last week too. When you tell a woman she's beautiful, she's going to forget that, because you're probably not the first person today to tell her that. And if you are, you're not the first person this week. Meanwhile, like I said before, I remember a compliment I got 6 years ago when an attractive woman on the bus told me she liked the shirt I was wearing. I never forgot that. I still remember, because for guys, it doesn't happen that often. So we think that they think like we do. They think that because we've had equality and you know, that whole even playing field thing shoved down our throat all these years, that we assume that they think and react and respond the same way we do because they live the same basic lives. And the fact is they don't. And that's just that's exactly what I'm saying. So I'll give you a good example. One time, one of the ladies on my Facebook, very attractive girl, went to high school with her. She posted, this is probably about 3 or 4 years ago. She posted a selfie, and she looked pretty good in it. Every guy I knew was on there, be like, "Oh, you're so beautiful, you're so hot, you're so this and that." For me, just to be a smart ass, my comment was, "Listen, I told you I'm not liking any more of your pictures until you change that shade of lipstick." Guess whose DMs she slid into? Yeah, I mean, and the thing of it is, that's just it. I was the only guy in the comment thread not falling all over myself. I cracked a joke. She probably laughed when she read it, probably while she was pooping, and she do it too. And that's when I got the DM from her, and the DM read, "You are so funny. I would love to hang out with you sometime." This and that. Now, it never materialized. But the point is, I made that comment. These guys, I mean, first of all, I saw the picture the day after she posted it, so I saw the string of comments. Again, just to be a smart ass, I threw that in there, and I would say 10 minutes later, she's in my DMs.
Johnny, that's something that happens to me constantly. There is a way to.
But you do what they're not. You do what the rest of them aren't doing. Yeah.
There's a way to bait women into your inbox, because when you're guy and you slide into a woman's DM, you're really coming from a weak position because there's so many weak guys that DM them all the time. It's better to comment on something and spark her interest so much in that comment that she can't help but reach out to you. She just craving more of whatever that little morsel, that little breadcrumb was. She wants a bigger taste.
And it's like sales 101. Young men, if you're working in sales and you're having trouble meeting women, remember, you can translate some of your work skills into this. And no, I don't mean BSing them into making a purchase. What I'm trying to say is you've got to, like Billy said here, you got to create the intrigue. You've got to be able to kind of create that interest and give her a reason to want to, quote unquote, buy, or in this case, subscribe to what you're, again, for lack of a better term, selling her. And that is you yourself. And so what you've got to understand in these kinds of situations is if you're doing what other people aren't doing, okay? If you're showing that, listen, hey, I'd like to offer this to you, but hey, if you don't want it, there's other people that are willing. You have to have that mindset of abundance. And more than that, you can't just code switch. You can't just become a completely different person. I know a guy, I'll never forget, we'll call him Scott because that's his name. He's one of those guys that when he sees a pretty girl enter the room, his entire personality changes. If he was just sitting there talking to you, you know what I'm saying? He might be talking about sports and how he hates the Steelers. And by the way, let's go Steelers. How he hates the Steelers and all that other stuff. He could be talking about anything like that. As soon as a beautiful woman enters the room, he is Mr. Sunshine, clean cut, and the best guy you ever met. Mainly when he addresses her because he already forgot you were in the room. Those are the guys that are going to leave those kinds of
fake ass motherfucker.
Right. Those are the guys that are going to leave those thirsty comments every time.
Because when you start to
and
change
guess what?
up
They
who
can
you
sense
are,
that.
yeah, when you change up who you are, you're pandering for women's attention.
And they know you're
that.
doing it.
Yeah, they know you're doing it. So, all right, let's keep going here. I know she's about to talk about men simping online, and man, damn it, it's hard to watch sometimes.
Yeah.
Struck eyes, or is this too much? Exaggerated compliments on
Shout out to Johnny Dumbbell. Johnny, how many compliments should you give a woman?
1 per night, and it should be either right when you pick her up or right before you drop her off. You pick. You could either tell her how nice she looks when she comes out to the car, or you can tell her what a great time you had right before you drop her off. And the thing of it is that any more than that, you're going to be gauging for reactions. And we are as men, we are too addicted to dopamine to allow ourselves to do that, where we're going to get hooked. And that happens in minutes. Careful.
And your night's probably going to go a hell of a lot better if you compliment her at the beginning of the night rather than at the end, more than likely. Because if she just got her hair done or she's, got all spruced up for you or whatever, she's going to be thinking, well, this son of a bitch didn't even compliment me on how I look. You know what I mean? But regardless, what's that?
Hey, TK, I don't compliment women, especially on their looks. You got to understand, gentlemen, I'm the compliment. The fact that she's with me and I'm spending my time with her is the biggest compliment she could get.
Yeah, but you're only going to get so far with that compliment, brother. You're going to have to do a little bit better than that every once in a while, man. If I mean, not that you owe her anything, but man, a female likes to be told every once in a while. I mean, especially if she means something to you, how you feel about the way she looks, you know what I mean? Or whatever.
Well, yeah, but I think we're talking in the preliminary stages when we're still kind of trying to qualify.
Well, yeah, I got you there. Yeah,
because what she's talking about is instead of us qualifying the girl for whether or not we want to date her, we're trying to make her qualify us for whether or not she wants to choose us.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
But
let me make a little bit of clarification on that, because to TK's point, if she's on my program, then that's a little bit different story. But like what I'm referring to, what Johnny hit right on the head is when I'm just meeting her, when I'm just vetting her, we're in the beginning stages. I'm not complimenting her. I am the compliment, dog.
Yeah, I'd still go with it at the beginning of the night myself.
All right. Let's see what the wingman has to say about this.
hot. Sorry. Don't do that. Inappropriate declarations of love or admiration. Marry me, Ashley. And you don't even know her in real life. Even if you did, that's still simping, but we'll get to that. Acting like her boyfriend when you don't even know her, like using pet names or declaring date nights or invites, sending long, sappy messages that beg for attention. How about this one? Defending her anti-masculine, pro-feminism, bashing posts.
Yeah.
Whether posting publicly in her comments or trying to slip in to her thanks, but guaranteed she has little to no respect for you. Now, that's not to say that complimenting is always a bad move. Indeed, complimenting can be a good move, but it's when and how you compliment that makes the difference. And I'm going to
I gotta give her a point there because everything is about timing. So, you know, she's kind of right.
tell you more about that in a minute. But first, let's look at the embarrassing ways men simp in real life. And some of you might be surprised.
Yeah, and let me just stop you there. So on the social media posts, here's the thing. I'm not going to say anything anti or pro feminism, nothing like that. But what I am saying is this, gentlemen, if you think that you're going to sneak in under the friend radar and be able to become more, that's already a suicide mission. But if you're going to go ahead and be one of those fake feminists who's going to be like an ally to women because, hey, they're all women, so one of them's got to want to sleep with you, right? And listen, ladies, we guys sniff out those cretins like a fart in the car. We know they're out there. We even know who they are. Okay, for $20, I'll give you a name. Don't do that. But the point is, they're out there, and we guys can tell when those guys are there, and we know that you can tell. The only people who don't know that you know are the guys that are actually making those posts. Here's the thing: if you're one of those guys, you might even get a couple of heart reactions from a couple of these girls. Remember, you defended them publicly, and what they wanted was public defense. But slide into those DMs, at best, you'll get left on red if you don't get blocked, in most cases. Guys, you can be an ally all you want, but you know what a synonym for ally is? Friend.
All right, Johnny. All right, let's keep going here.
I mean, if you really believe that way, you really believe that way. That's different. I'm just saying don't do it just because you think that's going to be your aim.
Especially in rapid succession. Double or triple texting her when she hasn't even replied to your first.
Yeah, you never
Just
text
a
back to
second
back.
here.
My thing is this. When you're talking to someone who's interested, you would not have to text more than once. You wouldn't have to text 2 times or more in a row. My thing is, if you send a text, and even if it's something that could have been responded to in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is,
if you
let
are
that
starting
go
to
on.
see her publicly marking your.
Go ahead, Johnny.
Oh, sorry.
I think
Let
we're
that
having a
go
little
on.
bit of a
If
delay
you're
or I'm
gonna
having
text
some
her-
internet issues.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a lag on the video. But anyway, the point is, if you send her one text message, don't send her another one until she sends something back. The thing of it is, if 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 hours go by, the longer time that goes by between the time you send it and the time you get a response, remember one thing. And I've seen it in so many different frames and so many different fonts on so many different memes. No response is a response. Sucks, but it is what it
Yeah.
is.
All right. No response is a response. I love it. Now, I
I
gotta
wish I could
tell
take
you
credit
though.
for it, but I did. Matter of
Let's
fact,
keep
throughout my
going.
20s, I didn't even know that saying.
Or territory. This translates to insecure, not simp, you're sorry. Put a link at the end. buying her gifts when you're not. How about this one? Being her emotional tampon when she complains about her boyfriend. There you are, sitting on the sidelines, orbiting, hoping to get something. Meanwhile, she's just using you as a needs above your own. Turn off to women. You think they'd like that? No.
Yes.
This is why it's counterintuitive.
What's that, Johnny?
Yeah, if you're that guy that's there to be the shoulder to cry on because that's how you think your angle's going to work, you are exactly the same kid on the basketball court at the playground that just hangs out under the hoop because then if somebody makes a shot, you might touch the ball for a minute. That's the kid that you were, okay? And then, look, if you're, and I'm nothing against the non-athletic kid, but what I'm trying to say is if you are that desperate for her attention and that desperate to be in her presence when she's feeling some sort of emotion, again, at best, you're going to be the friendly shoulder to cry on, and that's at most. At worst, you're going to be the guy who thinks that he's sneaking in through the back door, no pun intended, and find out that there was no door open. You slammed into it.
Yeah, I have a hard time relating to some of this stuff. Now, I am aware that a lot of it goes on because I do have extensive conversations with women about some of this stuff. But even when I was younger, I had too much self-respect to do some of these behaviors. So it just boggles my mind that young men don't know any better.
These are rookie mistakes these are rookie mistakes I saw guys making around early high school.
Right. But that's the thing, Johnny. But with the amount of skill level that these guys have, the rudimentary understanding of how you should conduct yourselves around women, we got to go over the basics every week. We have to constantly be going over the beginner class because it's like these guys aren't getting it if we try to teach it on our level. So we got to slow it down. We got to break it down and get them the information in ways that they can understand it.
Well, that's why I chose this video because she really does kind of give us a simpler, explanation. And from her own perspective, but I'm sure she did some outside research as well. But let's see what she has to say.
Hey, and shout out to both of you because I appreciate it when you guys bring clips for us to review. Next week, TK got two for us from Red Pill Ricky or Ricky Red Pill or something. We're gonna break those down next Monday.
But hey, look, man.
Knows how much I love Red Pill content.
Here's another thing too, man. All guys don't naturally have the ability to have a way with women. You know what I mean? It's almost something that you're naturally born with, like being a fucking dog whisperer. You know what I mean? Like you don't. All guys just don't retain that. I don't know, the tactics, you know what I mean, to be able to read women and know what they're thinking or read into what they're, writing and be like we are and be able to tell, you know what I mean? I know what kind of chick that is, you know what I mean? A lot of times they just don't have it, man. You got to be born with it, kind of.
Well, and it can be learned, but if it's going to be learned, you really better commit to it. You really better be steadfast in your hunger for that knowledge.
All right, I think both of you gentlemen are right. TK, back in the day, they used to call guys like us a natural. We just had a natural ability when it came to talking to women, having conversations with them, and being able to turn those conversations into something more.
Yep.
And John, you're also right where this is something that can be taught, it can be learned, but
you better commit to it and you better want to do it. You got to so learning this is like quitting smoking. If you don't want to do it, if you are not 100% balls deep ready to go, don't do it. We can't help you if you're not ready to, go all in. You've got to say to yourself, this part of my life has to change and positive things have to start happening. And since I don't know how to do that, I'm going to start seeking out people who do. Again, guys, that's why we're here, and we're the uncles you never wanted.
Johnny, you're right about that on so many levels, but we're going to keep going because we still got a little more than half of the video to get through.
Simping is a major turnoff because a high value woman needs to know that value oriented standards, not low, shallow oriented standards. Okay, are not really seeing the true her. You love the idea of her. And
Let me stop it right there. I think a lot of guys
I love the idea of
have
her
that
loving him.
problem. They make up these fantasies about how perfect women are, and they don't understand. Gentlemen, I'm going to be plain when I say this. Women are insecure as fuck. Okay. The most beautiful, gorgeous women will think that they're hideous and ugly, and they have this wrong with them and that wrong with them, and they have anxiety and they worry about stuff. And dog, they are insecure as fuck. So when y'all come along putting them on a pedestal, you know, once you get them up there on that pedestal, they're going to look down at you like there's something wrong with you. Why are you worshiping such a flawed creature? I'm telling you, they just don't. They're very insecure. So, and I think that's a big problem with the simp. And these guys just are an absolute in love with the idea of what the woman is or could be, or her looks, or whatever the case may be, fill in the blank.
Well, hey, man, Britney Spears tried to tell us about this 25 years ago, man. You remember Oops, I Did It Again? Seriously, go read the lyrics to that song. She pretty much tells on herself and the rest of the gender. The thing of it is that, once again, this is the kind of dopamine rush that they get from knowing that someone's attracted to them. So even if they plan on not acting on it, now, at the very, very best, you become one of her orbiters continuously. I can't tell you how many times I've seen the same guys commenting on the same girl's pictures. And the funny thing is, there's multiple girls they're commenting on, but the point is that they're always, always, always there. And the thing of it is that even if she has no interest in you, she's going to let you keep commenting. She's going to let you keep feeding her that dopamine. And honestly, it doesn't make them bad people. I'm not mad at them for it. Look, it's just how they're wired. We're wired a certain way too, and there's certain things that feed us the dopamine, and we're going to keep doing it too. So I get it. But once again, at that point, just feed her. Stop it. Bad boy.
Now, Johnny, I've heard you talk about that before, how simps are addicted to dopamine. So
I think we all are to a certain extent. Depends on how we get it.
How do these... I just don't understand what they have to gain from simping on a woman. Like, has that ever worked in any case ever in history? Has simping for a woman actually, like, because I mean, I know that
it has convinced her to spend his time and money.
Well, that's the thing too, man. Look, some guys, you know, depending on the pathetic scale, they see it different than we do. You know what I mean? They don't understand the cycle that they're starting and creating, or, you know, with their by doing that, you know, the cycle they're creating for a woman to lose respect for them. You know what I mean? They just don't, I guess, compute it up there or something, you know. I don't know.
Right. And simply this, you know, women like to date up. In other words, they like to date someone that they can respect. And it's hard to have respect and admiration for someone who is constantly putting you up on the pedestal. You can't admire someone from above. It's just not, that's just not how it works.
DK,
well, I take that back. If it's a rom-com, that's how it works. But other than that, it is.
TK, I like how you said that they don't see it like us, because I think when you have game, it's like wearing glasses. Okay. Once you put these glasses on, you can never take them off. Now, these glasses, once you're wearing them, you're going to see things for what they actually are, not what they could be. And you can't ever force someone else to put these glasses on. But that's a really good point that you made about guys not being able to see things like we do. And it's just because we have obtained a certain level of game and we see right through the bullshit and we know what the move is. And it's just going to be like that for us for the rest of our life. And we are trying to wake up these other people, these young men, and give them an opportunity to wear the same kind of glasses we got on, man. See things through our perspective and just try to help them out.
BK, you already know what I'm gonna say, don't you?
What?
That reminds me of the time that Neo took the red pill.
Yeah, right.
Just saying. Just saying.
Y'all with this red
I
pill.
will bring you
can't
with me.
wait for next Monday.
You
when
will
we do
wave the
this-
terrible tale of the red pill.
And we have the red pill review next Monday. All right, let's get back to our show here about simping.
Gotcha.
This brings us to the law of real love.
Love that exists. And hold on just a second. Gentlemen, everybody watching this, you guys need to know the only real love, the only true love that exists is the love that you should have for yourself. That's it. All right, let me get back here.
So the law of real love is you can only really love someone else if you can see and appreciate, know, and understand that they have latent flaws. What are latent?
$453,000.
Just a second here.
Folks, this is part of the occupational hazard of us not yet being monetized, so please like and subscribe so that maybe we won't have to put up with these damn commercials when we're trying to react to a video. We want to be rich. Come on now.
Latent flaws, they are the hidden flaws that are not visible on social media or even visually in person. And the law of real love means that you need to be able to not only see those flaws. And no, simping is not a flaw that she's going to learn to love because it goes against the law of true love. So how do you show interest without it being a turnoff? Let's look at what simping isn't. Generally, it's not simping. You're more safe if character-related comments and or compliments. Why? Because this actually shows you have standards.
You still limit yourself to one.
Compliments
Hey,
to one
you know what?
for
I'm
interaction.
sorry. I got to stop this. I got to stop this for a minute because it almost sounded like she said that looks don't matter and have some standards for yourself. And I just wonder who could be saying that this whole time. Huh. Let's keep going.
Action maximum. Hint. Interaction means she's interacting, she's engaging. If she's not legitimately reciprocate, generalize instead of personalize. Example, social media. You're the kind of woman I would like to get to know in real life.
Like you got a bunch of
in real life who has married me. When can I meet you? Please answer my email. That's simping.
That's pathetic, is what that is.
Kind of woman I'd like to get to know better. Versus,
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you're reading her body language,
I don't
gentlemen,
understand.
don't be cloud watchers. And what I mean by that is don't, you ever lay on your back and you look at the clouds and you say, geez, that one's kind of shaped like a cat. That one's kind of shaped like a horse's ass. It doesn't matter. When you're looking at things that the cloud might be shaped like, it's because your brain is creating an image of what it might look like to you based on things that you're used to seeing in real life. Don't translate that into interpreting how you think the girl that you're interested feels about you based on her responses. If you go in there and you say, "Hey, good morning, beautiful," and she says something like, "Oh, hey, hi," and she smiles, don't take that smile as, "Oh, well, hey, keep doing this because it's working really well for you." Now you're cloud gazing. Now you're trying to make that smile mean more than it is. It's not just about that. You're going to have to pay attention to her body language as a whole when and if you do talk to her. But when you do that, you've got to be honest with yourself. Be real with yourself. Again, we're not trying to say, this looks like this feels like this seems this way. I don't care how it seems. I care how her body language portrays how she apparently feels about you. I want to see how that projects what she might or may not be feeling.
Yeah, I mean, if you have any kind of gut intuition about women at all, you're gonna know if she, is interested in you. Women will let you know. I mean, it's pretty hard to miss.
They'll make you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Man, are you kidding me? They are so obvious with it. How could you not know?
Because these guys are inexperienced.
surprised,
That's why they're
man.
watching us.
yeah, you'd be surprised.
All right,
I've seen guys who are just clueless when it comes to women, man. I mean,
Simping. And in order for you to have high standards, to be able to attract a high value woman, you have to have.
Okay. You should have high standards, but you should have those high standards for you. You shouldn't worry about having high standards so you can attract women or high value women. Those standards should be for you.
yeah. And your definition of a high value woman might be completely different than
If you
hers.
don't have.
Sorry, go ahead, man.
Absolutely. And that's something we talk about. No, that's something we talk about quite a bit is whose definition of a good woman or a high value woman are we using here?
Right.
So, because I
only one that matters
feel
is your
like
own.
on me as
Only one that matters is yours.
Well, thank you, Johnny. You know what? Let me give you a round of applause for that. All right, let's keep going.
High self-esteem, that's when you slip into simping, and you'll never slip into her. Simping versus being a place of feeling low value, whereas she and true gentlemanly behaviors come from a place of feeling high value, and are in the mindset to react and respond in a whole different way. And the
vetting her, huh? Somebody here has definitely been talking about vetting women for well over a year on YouTube.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, it's refreshing. It's refreshing to hear her say that, though.
Yeah, it is. Bless that bitch.
Kind and thoughtful and courteous things you do won't come across as simping, even if some of those actions, some of the simping things we've talked about. In other words, chivalry can include you're not truly busy, complimenting her, particularly on her positive character traits. You have standards and what those standards are that are important to you. Letting her borrow your sweatshirt when she's cold. Women are usually colder than men. Beautiful. But it's not. To be courteous and thoughtful.
Hold on a second, guys.
Listen, I've lost enough hoodies to girls to be like, all right, you can have my hoodie, but listen, we're going to have you sign this out. You're going to put down a deposit, and you'll get it back when you return the hoodie. Lost too many hoodies.
Because that's the kind of man you are. And as importantly,
Johnny, you lose hoodies?
And over the years, listen, Over the years,
that's-
I could have
that's
opened
usually
my
one
own
of the
hoodie
things I-
store.
Yeah, same here, man. I've probably lost the whole
And jerseys,
wardrobe
and
of shirts and hoodies, man.
Somewhere in
Hey,
Narnia,
speaking
somewhere
of
in
a
Narnia
hoodie
is a pile of
store.
my hoodies that my ex-girlfriend stole and probably threw away years later.
Man. Yeah, dog. I don't have, man, my hoodies don't go disappearing. I get new ones all the time. I tell women which ones I like
That's not
or
the
where I
point.
want
Don't
them
steal the ones I
from,
have,
Yeah,
though.
that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about, you know, hey, look, man, I've had shirts and favorite hoodies come up missing. Just like I had a thief in the night in my house because a chick wanted to take something of mine to wear, man, just to be close to me or just have something. You know what I mean? But chicks are weird like that.
She got a
Dog.
shrine to TK in her closet, man, and she goes and like sits in the dark and cries.
I got one of my shirts back from a woman last week with tears on it. What are we talking about here, dog?
Oh God.
They return my stuff because they respect me. They don't just ghost me and keep my hoodies and shit. No.
She stained her with her tears, man.
Hey, yeah. It's the one that says, bitch, go hard for me. All right, let's finish up our program here tonight, gentlemen.
Yeah.
She deserves it and reciprocates attention.
Freezing.
But you didn't know any better. And I appreciate your compliments, except the ones where you give me pet names. I really don't like that. I have to say, I really, really don't like that. That's something you should save for your someone special when you actually and entertainment. So compliments on my video content are what reach other men who comments. Now, while it's safe generally to simp on my page, how do you compliment a woman without
I thought
simping?
you just
Mindset.
don't compliment them. Until
dude,
you know what you're doing, you cut that behavior off entirely.
I'm gonna have to take your word for it, man. We almost didn't hear any of that.
All right, let's keep going here.
I didn't get much of it either.
That's all right. It doesn't matter. Let's keep going.
Here's the key. But better if you have higher standards. Then you have to actively and openly vet for them. Just because she's pretty or hot should must be. She has character flaws. We all do. She has character flaws. What are they? And then you want to ask yourself continuously as you're getting to know her, what are her character flaws? Does she still qualify for me? What other character flaws does she have? Does she still qualify for me? Does she meet my standards? That's the mindset you must have. And that's not to say you're going to point out her flaws to be mean or cruel, but you're certainly going to be aware of them. And sometimes, yes, you are going to call her out on them. With this mindset, she will know that she is under review for you, which means she knows you have high standards. What do high value women need from a man? She needs to know that he has high standards. This means that if she eventually does capture you, your heart, your attention, your love, your care, then she deserves you and she knows you deserve her. Now, as I mentioned, women do love compliments, but there's a way to give them that makes them intrigued instead of instantly turned off. So you will want to watch how to compliment beautiful women without being creepy or simpy. And in that video, I share my favorite compliments. Thanks for being here. God bless.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
mean,
John,
I would
just a
actually,
second here.
in my case, in anybody's case, I would probably be very, very, very sparse with compliments. I would use compliments the way I would use salt. Okay, a little bit might be all right, but I mean, I wouldn't even do one a day. I wouldn't even do. Here's the thing: if you have three conversations with this woman,
a little one here and there.
if you've already had three conversations with this woman that you're interested in, and you not only never asked her out, but you didn't even find out whether or not the kind of girl you'd like to date, move on. There's no point. You know, you haven't seen her body language indicate her attraction to you, and you haven't made your move yet because whatever. The point is, you're not making progress. Not happening.
Well, look, I can appreciate her putting a video together and trying to help men out, but I don't understand how women can come into a space for men and try to give them the advice they need. It's kind of like something that Johnny, you have said that
That'd be like a cat trying to give a dog advice on how to be a dog. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Or a dog trying to give a cat advice how to be a cat.
I appreciate her trying to do something, but I just don't know if it. Okay, how do I want to say this
Remember, we're
without
still
hurting
getting it.
anybody's feelings? Go ahead, Johnny.
Remember that we're still getting dating advice from the perspective of the feminine side, and we're and obviously we're talking about heterosexual relationships. We are not qualified to talk about anything outside of that. I know I'm not, but that's what she's describing. Now, remember, she is seeing it from her perspective. Like I said at the beginning of this podcast, we're not saying that everything she's saying is accurate, but we are. But what I am saying is pay attention to what she's telling you and how she's telling you. Because here's the thing: even if there was some cap in there, pay attention to that and pay attention to how she says it. Because you got to remember that she is still a woman. She is still sexually attracted to men. And as such, she is still going to be at least honest in her body language, at least honest in her context as to what the thinking might be on their side when certain men do certain things a certain way. Now, I think she's being as honest with herself as she possibly knows how to be when it comes to telling us men what would be the best way to approach. So I do think her heart's in the right place. I don't know that I would even bother with the complimenting stage like Bill said. But I would definitely make sure that we are presenting ourselves in a respectful way, something that not only gets her to respect you, but remember, guys, like I told you before, the initial attraction's got to be there. And some guys, even if they don't think it is, they think they're going to, quote, win her over. Look, if there's not an initial attraction, and I'm not necessarily saying physical, but if she doesn't have some sort of physical, or if she doesn't have some sort of initial attraction to you, then everything else isn't going to matter. And you know what? That's okay. That's just the probability. That's just the odds. You either get her biology going or you don't. But when you see that body language that indicates yes, hey, make the appropriate adjustments. If you see that it says no, that's the best thing you can see. Second best thing you can see, rather. Because then you can just move on.
Johnny, I gotta say, the world needs ditch diggers too. So
Yeah,
I'm glad
absolutely.
that there's simps out here.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
glad that there's losers who are going to finance these women and support their lifestyle.
And with ulterior motives, so it's not like we feel bad for them.
Right. We don't. Now, okay, so I'm conflicted. I have my own confliction here because I want to help young men do better. I really do. That's why we give up our time. That's why we're putting out our message. That's why we do these shows. But knowing that, I also know that some people are just not worthy of the information we have, and they don't deserve to get the cheat codes to life that we worked so hard to get, so without leveling up and putting in the work.
I would say go easy on those types, though, because I know that a lot of what we have noticed in our lives that seems to work if somebody would have just told it to me, I would have thought it was counterintuitive, a lot of that stuff. You know, like, for example, not trying so hard. Well, hell, I was raised to believe that if you wanted something, you had to really, really try hard for it. And the harder that you work, the harder this and that. Well, number one, not only have we found that out, it's not the case of romance, we found that out professionally. That not necessarily the harder you work just equals the more successful you'll be. I know some really successful people that hardly had to work much for it, but they knew what they were doing because they worked smarter. There's no difference in the romance game. It's just that it involves your emotions, so you're just going to have to be a little more careful. And that means vetting women properly.
Now, Johnny, there's something you had mentioned earlier. Oh, what was it exactly? We were talking about, you know what? I'll come back to that. Maybe we can do a whole other show on it and we can expand on it. Let's go ahead and get this wrapped up for the night, man. I just want to thank both you guys for taking your time and getting on this podcast. Try to help these young men, reach some of these young men, and let them know that they got to do better. And we want to help, but for us to help, it's something else Johnny said. You guys are going to have to humble yourselves a little bit and admit that you have a problem if you want us to work with you to get better. Because
remember, she didn't break your heart; she hurt your ego, and that's okay.
Well, gentlemen, I guess we'll be back Thursday night. We're going to look for some winners for William and break down some Bumble dating profiles. Anything you guys want to say before we end the stream?
Nah, man, I'm good.
Appreciate your time, TK.
Yeah, I mean, gentlemen, no matter what you're doing, and the ladies that might be watching too, remember, progress is one day at a time. You got to win the day. All right. Forget about winning or losing yesterday, and don't worry about what you got to do to win tomorrow. You haven't finished surviving today. So, sometimes you got to take it one day at a time, and sometimes it's so tough you got to take each day 1 hour at a time. But you're going to get through it. That's both the good news and the bad news. You'll survive.
Yep.
Yeah. Real quick before we end this, I just want to remind everybody that's watching that we are here to help. We post all of our links for our Instagrams and Facebooks and YouTubes and TikToks, and there's ways for you to reach out to us, to DM us, to ask us for our help, to ask us questions. And look, here's what I need you guys to understand. You guys probably aren't the only one having those problems. So if you reach out to us, DM something to us, we can put it up for the class, and you can help some of these other young men who don't know what they're doing get a little bit of game out of it too. So
don't be embarrassed. No matter what dumb things you've done, I've probably done dumber.
I want to add this too. Go ahead, man. Sorry.
I was going to say, we welcome all your questions, concerns, comments. Go ahead and reach out to us. You'll see that we're all some real men, and we will reach back to you when we have the time.
Well, look, man, I do want to leave off with this. You guys got to realize, too, that us three are a dying breed. You know what I mean? They just don't make the same mold anymore. So it's not an easy task to guide other men into a certain direction when they're not built with the same equipment. You know what I mean? Or they might just have it set up in a different way because they think a different way, whatever. But us three are a dying breed, man. It's not easy to transfer the type of intuition that we have that comes naturally to people who it doesn't come naturally to. But if you guys stick with us, we can definitely help you as much as we can, or we're going to try to anyways.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you all. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and I will see each of you Thursday at 9:35 p.m. We're going to be breaking down some Bumble dating profiles, looking for some winners for William. All right. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, like, share the stream. We out.